Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming back for another episode of the CNY family. And those of you that are new, welcome. Everybody, do me a favor and just hit that thumbs up on your way in. And if you are not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and sub up and then click that notification bell to make sure you don't miss a future video. So if you have not seen my previous, if you did not see my previous video on the Karlie Guse case, please make sure that you check that out. So it'll give you a little bit of background. As you know, a friend of the family did reach out to me, and I've been talking to her, and she had some more that she wanted to add, and I had a couple questions that I wanted to ask. So we're going to go over all of those messages with you guys tonight. Yes, I hope everybody is having a happy Tuesday. Yes, if you're new here, welcome. And all my regulars, come on in. Thank you guys for coming. All right, so let's get right into it. Let me just 1 second and I'll start pulling these up. All right. Okay, so I said, okay, so you met Melissa the night before Karlie went missing, but you knew her husband from school, right? And she replied, so my husband grew up in Bishop and he went to high school with Melissa. I'm not sure if Zach grew up there as well. He never mentioned that, but Melissa had recognized me and my daughter from my husband's Facebook. And I just wanted to clear up. I had saw people post on the last video why I didn't just ask the girl if she was Karlie or call 911 after we were looking at her for a while. We thought that she looked older than Karlie, and it kind of seemed like less and less that it could be her. But I did call out to her, Karlie, Karlie, and she didn't respond whatsoever. But like I said, she seemed out of it, like she was not in her right mind. And I did call the number for the investigator on the case in Mono County. And I told him what I was saying and everything, and he wanted pictures. So I wasn't able to get him pictures till later. Okay. Till later that evening, we sent from my mom's phone, but for some reason that wasn't working. And then so he didn't get them until I got back to the hotel and was able to get them on my phone and send them to him. And which I replied, yeah, I know, it's totally understandable. You know, it's really hard for people when, you know, if they don't have all the facts. Then I said, okay, now one of the big things to me is why Melissa did not feel like she needed to get Karlie any help that night. Did she tell you why? Did she explain anything to you as to why she was adamant on not calling 911 and not getting her help? I'm just trying to understand. Okay. Hi, everybody. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I did ask her that, and she had asked Karlie if there was anything else that she could have taken or smoked, or if the weed was laced with anything, or if anyone else had any other drugs there. It could have been slipped through a drink. And all the questions we're all asking basically. And Karlie said, no, 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 it was just weed. So she asked Donald, and Donald said the same thing. It was just weed. I promise, Melissa. It was just weed. I wouldn't do that. So, I mean, it was pretty adamant that everyone said it was just weed. So Melissa now is just trying to comfort Karlie and just have her come down from whatever paranoid high that she is on. And yeah, she did say, like, if something were to happen, would you call 911? And Melissa was confused about it. Like, what are you saying? Because Karlie's saying all kinds of things. She's up and down and happy and sad and paranoid, and it's a lot. So all Melissa is thinking right now is, okay, Donald said there's nothing else that it could possibly be. She was just with her regular group of friends, maybe like 5 of them. Okay. Maybe like 5 of them all together that were there. So her main concern is getting Karlie calmed down and comfortable until she comes down from her high. Also, Karlie was smoking weed regularly, but she had quit. And I want to say it was like 2 months of her quitting while she was going to this other school to try to get back to Bishop High School. So when you smoke after not smoking it for so long, even if you were used to it before, it's a different kind of high. Also, law enforcement did get the bong that they smoked out of and tested it. And as far as they know, it came back with just weed. And also, I think a lot of people were coming to the conclusion that Karlie had recently been under a lot of stress. She wasn't smoking anymore, so she's not getting those endorphins that she's feeling bad and guilty because she got in trouble at school. So she's not in a good place mentally and emotionally. All right. Right now. Then she goes and smokes weed, and it's not going to have the same effect it once did because now she's got all this underlying stress and guilt from being in trouble and everything that's going on in her life at that point. So her smoking weed after not smoking for a while just tipped her over the edge. Also, if you look up anything about schizophrenia, it's something that can trigger between your later teen years to early adult years, and you don't know when it's going to come or what can trigger it. But if you're going to have it, that's usually when it shows up. If, of course, you weren't already born with it. And that's just my own thoughts because my brother has paranoid schizophrenia and it kicked in from drug use around the same age. And I said, okay, thank you. So I know Lindsay had said that the cops didn't go into the house to check for anything. Is that true? Even if she had gone missing, you would think that they would check the home for anything out of sort. Yeah, I don't know why she said that. I think what she meant is they didn't go in there checking for proof or evidence of her dying there because they did go there that day. They had to pick up her phone and all her electronic devices so that they can go through them. So they were in the house. Okay, because I was flabbergasted when I heard Lindsay say the cops never checked the house. I know you said you had talked to the investigators. Now, did they ever consider Melissa and Zach persons of interest, or were they ever suspected in Karlie's disappearance? Also, did they ever have any other persons of interest in the case, or have they always only looked at it like a missing persons case? Take a minute, guys. If you have not already hit that like button, please go ahead and hit that for me. Also, the bus stop thing is a misconception. So there's actually 2 bus stops, and people are confusing them for one another. There's the one Karlie would walk to go talk on her phone, and that is located at the end of her street, and that bus stop is a city highway transit bus stop. So more for the general public. And then at the beginning of her housing tract that meets the highway is the school bus stop. And I said, okay, thank you for that clarification. And Karlie would walk to the city bus stop to talk on her phone, but Karlie did not take the school bus to school. So she didn't walk to that stop. Melissa drove her to school. So the reason why that's a big deal is because when they did have the dogs go to the house and grab her scent, the dogs track her scent all the way to the highway where the school bus stop is. And then it disappears. So that's why investigators think that she walked out that morning to that bus stop and was picked up one way or another by that highway. Okay, thank you for that. So she says, so investigators are always going to be open to a possibility of any suspect. They're going to follow evidence. So in the beginning, I'm sure they were suspicious of everybody. And then when they find that Karlie sent goes to the highway and disappears, and they have eyewitnesses that saw Karlie walking towards the highway and that saw Karlie at the highway and the doors slightly open, all evidence points to Karlie got into some kind of vehicle at the highway. Okay. This is me back to her. Okay, I have a question about that morning. Lindsay said that Melissa was wearing gray sweatpants and a white shirt. Can you confirm or deny that for me? So in the first live Facebook video that Melissa does, she's wearing gray sweatpants and a white tank top. But when Melissa is out searching for Karlie before the video is made, she has some kind of sweater on. And I can't remember what color or what, but it's cold. So she has some kind of sweater over the tank top. So that's why people are suspicious of the eyewitnesses possibly saying that Melissa instead of Karlie. But I have info on that for you too, where I replied, okay, I would like any info you would like to share. And then I said, so she was wearing those in the Facebook Live later that day, but earlier she had something else on. Okay, got it. How was Karlie and Melissa's relationship in general? Did they get along? Was there tension there? Things like that. So the older man that sees Karlie out his window, he says that she's wearing possibly because he doesn't know for sure since he's pretty far away, but from his window. He says she's wearing gray sweatpants and a white t-shirt, not a tank top, a t-shirt, and that she's holding a white piece of paper. Now he describes her as a thin girl with long light brown hair. And people are suspicious that he could have seen Melissa instead of Karlie. But the problem with that is Melissa has a very different body type. She has a woman's body. She has curves, she has a chest, and she's not overweight by any means, but she's curvy. There's a very different body type that you're seeing in Karlie and Melissa, and people say that it's similar, but it's not. Karlie has a young girl's body. She has no chest. She's very thin, very petite. It's too different to confuse. And not only that, but the man that drove by and saw Karlie close to the highway, he knows Karlie in real life. So he's not confusing Melissa for Karlie. He's seeing Karlie because he knows what Karlie looks like. He's a local man that passed by. Okay, thank you for that information, I said. Then they said, from what I know, they had a mother-daughter relationship. They loved each other very much. Karlie saw her as a mother in her life, and Melissa treated her as her own. She raised her. So knowing that the guy saw Karlie at Highway 6 and that the dogs pick up her scent all the way to the highway, it just points more towards she got picked up by somebody. Melissa even got her a job at her work, and they worked together. She was very much a mom to Karlie. I said, okay, can I ask you about Zach's behavior and temper? I know he had that DV felony for inflicting corporal injury to a spouse. Yeah, so when I saw that first come out, I texted Melissa right away and said, what the heck is this? Is this true? Like, what's going on here? And hold on one second. I'm actually going to go look at that message and see exactly what she wrote back to me. I said, okay. She said, okay, so I messaged her because I saw that someone posted his arrest info on one of the Finding Karlie Facebook groups. And she said, I'm reporting the post now because it's false news and I don't need it all over social media. And then she said, but I will tell you the truth. He was arrested, but he didn't beat me or anything like that. Then I said, people are writing in the comments that he broke your shoulder and that there were even guns involved. Okay, now I'm going to read this part to you because there was something at the end that she didn't want me to share publicly. And it was just Melissa getting mad at commenters and, you know, being angry and going off on them, basically. So let me just read this one. Okay. Then she replied, broken bones? Geez, I don't need this in my life right now. Then I wrote to her, I'm so sorry. You all have to deal with this. I don't understand why they make these groups acting like they're trying to help find Karlie when they're just bringing drama and doing the opposite of helping. Then she responded pretty upset with some commenters. So I will skip that part. At that point, after being called a murderer and all kinds of horrible things that you can be called when your child is missing. All right, so now let me share this one. I did hear the part of the 911 call. This is me telling her. I did hear the part of the 911 call where either the dispatcher or the cop who was there say she had a possible broken shoulder. So that is probably where everyone else got it from as well. And then I said, so she said he was arrested, but that he didn't beat her. That seems a little odd. Okay, so she never told you about how he was or things he did as far as being aggressive or anything. And then she said, but as far as I know, Zach wasn't physically abusive or even verbally. They got into normal family fights, being in a blended family, with Kane being a rebellious teenager. I know that things got pretty hard to deal with after Karlie went missing for Kane, and he was very sad and blamed himself for not letting her come over that night. And there was an incident where he came to the house and was threatening to ill himself, and who knows what was being yelled by him and Zach and whoever else was there. Okay, now we had talked about that in the previous video. Okay, sorry, 1 second. Let me pull this one up. I'm just trying, and this is me. I'm just trying to get the whole picture. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so they did test the bong and it only tested positive for weed. Do you know how long after it happened that the testing was done? And then she went on to talk about what she was saying before. Yeah, I didn't push her too much on it and ask why was he arrested then. At that point, I felt like the whole world was coming down on her. Okay, hold on. Was coming down on her and accusing her of anything and everything and just pointing out the whole family to be crazy people. I didn't feel like it would help at all to question her. I said, I understand. Then she said, I want to say that they tested it within the first few days, but I do know there was some concerns that maybe they had gotten to clean the bong out before they were able to test it. And from the head investigator, he told me that if they did clean it out, it didn't look like it had been cleaned, as there was still resin buildup and ash in the downstem. But yes, it only came back positive for weed. I said, Okay, thanks for that. Do you know the friends that were there? I'm sorry, did Zach and Melissa know them? I mean, like, what kind of people were they? I don't know any of them personally. Melissa and Zach knew them all and the parents of them. The kids, they all grew up together and went to the same high school. It was their regular friend group. They're all normal teenagers. None of them were out of the ordinary. The worst thing they probably did, if you even think it's bad, is smoke weed, which is pretty normal in this area. I said, okay, good. Thank you. And I said, how much do you know about Lindsay? Do you know her personally? Was there bitterness there at all? Why was she so suspicious of Melissa? And then she went on to say, oh, and with Karlie running off that night and Melissa picking her up. So when Karlie and Donald got dropped off at Donald's house, Karlie was already calling Melissa to pick her up. So Donald knew she was on the phone with her and she took, hold on. And she took off, calling Melissa to pick her up. So Donald knew she was on the phone with her and she took off into the housing track in the back of Donald's house, checking. And then Donald chased after her. During that time, the call got dropped. So Melissa called back, and that's when Karlie took off again and started running down the street, where Melissa eventually picked her up from. So that's why Donald didn't go after her the second time, because he already knew she was on the phone and that Melissa was on her way. I said, did Karlie visit her mom often or no? What were the dynamics there? Yeah, I started talking to Lindsay after I had sent the first pic of the girl I saw at Disney. Okay. After the girl I saw at Disney. So we built a relationship after that, and she voiced to me like her concerns with Melissa and Zach, but I never really took them seriously. I just would listen and try to understand her. And because she lived a few hours away, I would go out and search and give her info on what was going on back in Bishop. From what I can tell, I think she had a lot of guilt not being a full-time mother to her kids, and she did have another kid after Karlie and Kane. And I don't think that's anywhere in reports or media that's out there. But she has a little boy with another man who lives in Bishop, and him and my husband used to work together. And he had full custody of that son too. So in my opinion, there might have been a lot of guilt around her as a mother in general. And I don't know the details of how often she would see her kids. I do know that they would talk a lot on the phone from what she says. So they had a relationship. It just wasn't a day-to-day 24-hour kind of parent-child relationship. And my husband is the one that told me that Lindsay had a history of drugs and things. And he would talk to her ex that she was the youngest son. Okay. And he would talk to her ex that she has the youngest son with at work. And he would tell him that their situation and why she didn't have custody and what her history was with drugs. I said, okay, thank you for that information. She said, I don't know this for sure, but Lindsay lives in Nevada with her boyfriend, and I don't even know if they're still together or living together or what the situation is now. But at the time that Karlie went missing, the rumor was that the boyfriend she was living with in Nevada was a registered SO. But I never got his name or looked that up or anything, so I don't know for sure. That is just a rumor that was going around, and I never talked to investigators about it or anything. So I have no more info on that other than that, but I did find it pretty interesting. Okay, let me get out of here. I said, so do you think she was picked up by someone either willingly or unwillingly? Is it possible that she left on her own for any reason, like running away or no? Oh, that is interesting. Thank you for that. Anything is possible. She says, yeah, in my opinion, with the dog sniffing her out to the highway and the man that knew her and recognized her and saw her at the highway that morning, and then with the scent just being gone after that, to me, that says she got picked up. And because she was probably still disoriented or tripping out or whatever was going on in her mind, she could have gotten in a car willingly or unwillingly and easily been taken advantage of. Also, have you seen the latest documentary on the case? It's on People Investigates, and the theory that they have is probably the most likely, and it's the most recent, and they have a pretty solid suspect right now. They're just waiting for lab tests to come back, which takes forever. And no, I don't think she would have ran away. I think it's more possible that she just was out of her mind and taking a walk for who knows what. She was thinking if she was just going on a walk or she was going to turn whatever paper she had in her hand. And there's no rationalizing it because she wasn't in her right mind. And I said, are you referring to the guy who was in recovery that came forward? Yeah, but he's not the suspect. He's the witness. That said, that he's the witness that said he saw her with the suspect and that something horrible happened. I said, right. So do you think that that man is telling the truth? Anyway, this turns out is awful unless she is found alive. All right. Whoops. Okay, now let me share this.
Whoopsie.
And she said, I don't see why not yet. And if they were able to recover evidence to test from the suspect's car, then maybe. Yes, for the longest time, I thought she was taken from the highway and being trafficked. And there were things that came up that led me to believe that, but they all were too vague or turned out not to be her. I said, okay, I just wanted to ask, all this information that you are giving me, did it come from numerous sources or is all of this coming from Melissa? I only ask because I know others will want to know that. I'm in no way implying anything. I'm just trying to get all the facts. And then she had this to say. Oh, happy holidays to all of you guys too. I hope you all have wonderful, wonderful holiday season. Yeah, no, it's all from law enforcement, private investigators talking to Lindsay and Melissa and firsthand. Like the dogs sent to the highway, the witnesses, the testing of the weed, that's all from law enforcement. There was a private investigator that I was in touch with in the beginning as well. And I said, I want to thank you for your time and answering some questions for me. I appreciate it. I wish more people that know backstories in cases would come forward and speak on it. I think more people would be helped that way. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. You don't mind if I share this information, right? I will continue to keep you anonymous. Now, when I say that she is anonymous, I know who she is. I know her real name, but she does not want it put out right now. She just online. She just wants to remain anonymous. So that's what that is. Okay, now let me pull out this one. Hold on, let me get rid of this one. Now, let me read this one to you. Same, it would help clear up. No, this is her. Same, it would help clear up a lot of fluff that's just not facts towards the cases. But at the same time, you can't control what people say in comments and have to be careful with who and what you believe and take in as facts. I said, so true, could not agree more. I'm sure I will think of more. Hold on. Now I got to move over to this one. I'm sure I will think of more. And when I do, I'll send it your way. I do also have info on Kylie's case as well, if you ever want to go over that, just maybe another day. But I did talk with Nick, the guy that works for the towing company that swore he helped Kylie the next day. And my friend that's a police officer in town told me info on the case because they had a class on missing persons cases. And since that happened not too far from here, the investigators used Kylie's case as an example in her class. The actual lead investigators in Kylie's case came to teach in the class. Yes, I would love to hear anything you have. Thank you. All right. So that goes it. That's it as far as the messages and stuff go. But hopefully I will have a chance to talk to her tomorrow about as far as Kylie's information goes. And hopefully she can put me into contact with Nick G. So at least that's what I'm hoping for. But hopefully I'll have something to bring to you guys as far as all of that goes. So I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Don't be afraid to comment. Leave me your thoughts. Love to know what you think about all of this. Please hit that thumbs up. Please sub to the channel. Please consider becoming a member of the family. And guys, don't forget that the drawing for the giveaway will be on the 15th for members only. The drawing will be on the 15th. Do not forget. And anybody that wants to donate to the channel, the links are all down in the description below. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light. And I will see you all next time.